A new study finds 78% of bridesmaids disliked their dress. 86% said bridesmaids should just graciously accept the bride's choice without a complaint. Only 2% said they would refuse to be a bridesmaid if it meant they had to wear a dress they didn't like. So lots of people sucking it up, but not really enjoying what they're wearing. I'd love to hear from you today if you've ever been a bridesmaid. Tell me about the experience. Were you a child? Did you do it when you were a bit older? What did you have to wear? Did you have to take responsibility? Did you, as a bride, choose the bridesmaids' outfits, or did you let them choose their own? Wedding planner Pippa Binham joins us now. And Pippa, let's start off by talking about bridesmaids. Do we see it as often at weddings as we used to? You'd never go to a wedding in the old days where there weren't at least a couple of bridesmaids.
Well, absolutely. I think you're right there, Jules. You've touched on something that actually, because of that old demographic you were talking about yesterday, no, actually fewer weddings these days do actually even have bridesmaids. And certainly those that are choosing their bridesmaids are choosing them far more sparingly. Yeah. So I think also that is down to a level of cost, actually, because when the average bridesmaid's dress costs £100 and then you times that by the number of girls you're having, actually it all adds up.
Yeah.
So
okay, so there's a cost implication here. If you are going to have bridesmaids, what's in these days? Is it to have cute little flower girl type bridesmaids, or to have older friends of yours as your bridesmaids?
Well, it's a real mix, and it of course depends from wedding to wedding. You do have the bridesmaids which are kind of your older friends, and they would be the ladies who would be helping you with your dress, giving out confetti, those kind of roles. But everyone loves a little flower girl, and certainly, especially during the dance time in the evening, seeing the little girls in their little dresses on the dance floor is adorable. Yeah. So that's still very, very popular.
Okay. What about when there is an older person, an older friend who might want to have a bit of a say in their role, and not least in what they wear? As a wedding planner, what have you come across? Have you come across any bridesmaids kicking back?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So I had a case recently, I'm not going to mention names, but where there was a bride who was desperate to try and choose dresses for suiting her bridesmaids. It was actually her sister in this case who kicked back because the dress that the bride chose did not flatter her figure. Okay. Unfortunately, this girl was a bit of a fuller figure lady, and it just did not suit her figure. So she kicked back. She said, "Nope, I'm not wearing it," and simply refused.
Okay. How did that play out in the end?
Well, luckily, the bride was a very sweet girl, a joy to work with. And she said, actually, I want to take into account my sister's feelings, and bowed to it and got something to suit all of the bridesmaids, including her sister.
Okay. How many did she have in total?
She had 5.
Goodness. Okay.
Which that tends to be the average number. But you can have weddings up to 30. I've had a wedding where they called their bridesmaids the ladies in blue. And so rather than dressing all of the bridesmaids in a proper bridesmaid's dress, they said, all of my girls, I can't choose between you in terms of bridesmaids, so everyone wear a blue dress.
Oh, that's a nice touch. Did you like that? Do you think that was a good idea?
Absolutely. And it's a nice way to overcome that awkwardness of potentially leaving others out when you're considering choosing bridesmaids and having that fear of, oh no, I've left someone out.
It does cause, there are conflicting priorities, and however much you feel you're staying in control of your wedding, there will always be an auntie or someone, it was an auntie in our family, who got a bit aggy because so-and-so hadn't been asked to be a bridesmaid, and it was all, there's always a bit of tension. And as a wedding planner, I guess you have to help the bride and groom just ignore that.
Absolutely. As a wedding planner, we say to the bride and groom time and time again, the wedding is your day. It's most important to take into account the things that you want for your day. Having said that, obviously it's important bearing in mind when you're choosing dresses to be fair to your bridesmaids. And I would say there is a percentage of brides who will go around choosing their dresses based on the fact they want them to look less nice than they do.
Oh, really?
Yes, absolutely. But what I would say is that the strongest number actually want their girls to look nice and will choose the dress accordingly. So absolutely, when I'm advising brides of what to do, I think that's the fairer way.
Where's a good place to source good bridesmaids dresses if you don't want to pay a fortune? Do you want to be asking someone in the family to make them? Do you want to be buying something off the shelf? Do you want to be buying something on eBay? What's the best way of doing it?
Well, there are some real pitfalls. There's a huge business growing up around dresses coming in from China, which are very cheap online, but I would advise people desperately against that. I had a case where they were dresses ordered online from China. They arrived, they looked nothing like they were meant to, against my advice. But what I would say, some of the good kind of dress styles are those which are the multi-way styles. Two Birds do a version, other dresses are available. One Clothing do a kind of cheaper alternative of that. And these are dresses where you can tailor them and wrap them to the shape of the person. Okay. So they are multifunctional. You can stow them easily in a suitcase if you're traveling abroad. They travel well, and also they can be tied in a variety of styles to suit the shape and the wearer, which is far kinder, I think.
I mean, you do notice that in photographs, and you think, oh, come on, that wasn't kind on the, you might have a kind of supermodel bridesmaid, and then you might have somebody who's ordinary, like most of us, and actually you want to choose the dress that looks great on the ordinary girl, not on the supermodel, right? That's
Absolutely.
the kind thing to do.
Well, there are so few of us that have that supermodel shape, so I would say...
Speak for yourself.
Of course you do, Jules.
Yeah, right. Once upon a time, maybe, not anymore.
But to be fairest to your bride, there are some classic shapes. The A-line dress will never go out of fashion, and it is multi-purpose and flattering, and it suits all body types. So I would say, if you want to be kind to your ladies, go for an A-line.
Okay. What is the role? What is it if you're using a bridesmaids at your wedding and you've chosen to do that? Do they have a role, or is it just to look nice and decorate the photographs?
Well, of course, in traditional styles, it was the fact that they were there to act as a backup if the bride fled. And actually
would they have to get married?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
That was actually their role in, medieval times.
I had no idea.
Yeah, if they did a runner. But now, obviously, they're there to help protect the bride, protect her chastity, make sure that she is totally... helped on the day. So ceremonial, exactly that. So to fluff her dress, give out confetti and those kind of things.
The most famous bridesmaid's dress in recent times has got to be Pippa Middleton. The bottom.
Absolutely. I think there were more lines about Pippa Middleton's bottom than there were about Kate's dress.
Yeah, you don't want that to happen at your wedding. It's been great fun. Pippa, thank you very much indeed. Pippa Binham is a wedding planner. Over to you. Have you been a bridesmaid, and what sort of dress did you have to wear?